I hope everybody had a nice, restful weekend. Welcome back for your 2 big days of school, right? Um, as you probably know, your assignment was to read Module One, so hopefully everybody got that read. You realize that what this particular module is about is the earliest of the early American history. So first, we're going to start a long, long time ago. Can anybody say this weird-looking Greek word? Pangea. Pangea. Pangea was a geological geographical theory. Now, theories are not something. There's a significant amount of evidence to prove it. It's not just something that's made up. Okay, but this is a theory that suggests that the continents were once all nestled together into one mega supercontinent, and then over time, over millions of years, they gradually drifted apart from one another in a phenomenon called continental drift into the position that they're in today. But as you can see, a long, long, long time ago, there was one mega supercontinent. And you can see how the continents kind of fit together like puzzle pieces today. How do they move around like that? Yeah, the plate tectonics. How fast do these continents drift away from one another?
Very slow.
How slow? About the speed with which your fingernails grow. That's how fast they're moving apart. Imagine how long it took to get enough distance between them so that there's an entire ocean between them. Took a long time, a long fingernail. Okay? So, this was very, very, very long time ago, okay? These geological forces also created some mountain ranges, like the Appalachian Mountains, the Rocky Mountains, and there's also, during the Great Ice Age, which started about 2 million years ago and ended about 10,000 years ago, around 8,000 BC. The Great Ice Age was going on. And this particular Great Ice Age, there have been multiple ice ages in Earth's history. In certain parts of Earth's history, Earth was just a big giant snowball, just completely 100% frozen. And then other points, a watery world. And then other points, only part of the Earth is covered in ice. The last one was the Great Ice Age, and only the northern hemisphere was covered with ice. But as the Great Ice Age was diminishing, so were the glaciers that were over North America. And because of that, a lot of the seawater was contained in those glaciers. And then because there was so much seawater out of the ocean, it exposed more land. And part of this land that gets exposed is called Beringia, or the Bering Land Bridge. Now we all know from last year, in your world history course, where did the first human beings exist? Africa. They were the Australopithecines. And over several years, they migrated because they were nomads. What is a nomad? That's right. They follow the migrations of animals, so they hunt and gather and follow the food. Well, during this Great Ice Age, this land was exposed, and humans that made their way up from Africa, across Europe and Asia, eventually made their way across this Bering Land Bridge during the Ice Age, bringing the very first ever humans to North America. We would refer to these people today as like Native Americans. But honestly, are they? No, they came from Asia. They're not native. Real native humans are Africa. So, this Bering Land Bridge emerged during the Great Ice Age, linking Asia and North America across what is now known as the Bering Sea. You guys ever watch that TV show on Discovery Channel, Deadliest Catch, where they catch all the crabs? That's where the people would have walked across, because it was land exposed there. Now it's the Bering Sea. Okay? All right, so Countless tribes emerged out of those first few people that came across and created a variety of different cultures. We could spend an entire semester just on a couple of these tribes. Literally. I'm going to give you 20 seconds worth on these tribes. All right? Hundreds of tribes emerged, but some of the more notable ones would be like the Pueblos. The Pueblos, as you can see my arrow, lived in these homes made out of adobe brick. These homes are actually called Pueblos, made by the Pueblo Indians. And they still exist. Look, it's like 3 stories. These were made by ancient people out of adobe bricks. And they were in the American Southwest. Native Americans that existed where you and I live would be like the Cherokee. This is a picture of an actual Cherokee man in North Carolina. Other places, if the further south you go, you have, the Choctaw. They had the Iroquois in the eastern woodlands, Creek Indians, Sioux. Then you go even further south, you get into the Aztecs, the Maya, the Olmecs, the Inca. Do you remember some of these groups of people? Good. I don't have to get too far into them. All right. So those are your first ever Americans, those groups. Can you visit them today? Kinda. About 90% of them are gone due to, conquest, murder, disease, and slavery. Mostly disease. Okay, now that get that happy stuff out of the way. Other discoverers also came to the New World very early on. Have you heard of these 2 dudes? Eric the Red and Leif Erikson? Say it one more time, Jordan. Heard of Leif Erikson? Okay. According to some legend, these are the first Europeans to come to America. It wasn't Christopher Columbus. However, these people did not come to stay. They visited and did trade. Who are they? Who are they? Where are they from? Thor and Odin would know. They're Vikings. They're from Norway. Yeah, they're Vikings. They're the Northmen. And around the year 1000, 492 years before Christopher Columbus, the Vikings landed in Newfoundland. Newfoundland. You ever heard of it? It's in Canada. Okay? Some places called it Vinland. Not Finland, but Vinland with a V because of all the vines. However, these men left and left no written record. Therefore, they're not historically given much credit. But they were there. Yes?
Can you repeat the place where they were at?
Newfoundland. It's spelled Newfound Land, but one word. Newfoundland. Newfound Land. Eric the Red is Leif Erikson's dad. That's why his name is Leif, Eric's son. That's how Norwegian people do their names. So if you have a name like Davidson, you're David's son. Or Richard's daughter, Dottir, daughter. You would name yourself after your family. So actually your name, you don't have the same name as your parents. Because it's like I would be John Jerryson. And my dad would be Jerry Walterson. Because your last name would be what your parents are. So think about what your name would be if you were Norwegian. Lots of sons and daughters in Norwegian name. Okay? All right, so Yeah, the only record of Eric the Red and Leif Erikson making it is found in songs that the people of Newfoundland had was passed down by oral tradition generation after generation. Okay? Who is really given the credit for coming to the New World?
Christopher.
That's right. Christopher Columbus. Where is Christopher Columbus from? He is an Italian explorer. He's actually from Genoa. And his real name is not Christopher Columbus. It's Cristoforo Colombo. But we Americanized it. Christopher Columbus. Anglicized it. He's an Italian. Now, did he come to the New World in the name of Italy? No. He came to the New World in the name of what nation? What empire? Spain. Christopher Columbus believed that he could find a direct, quick, easy route to India. And he believed that he could get there by sailing west. And he's not wrong. You could get to India sailing west. But there's a whole continent and 2 oceans in between. So he wants to find India. What's so great about India? Yeah, what kind of stuff did they have that Europeans wanted? Herbs, spices, silk, colorful things. You know what the most desired spice the Europeans wanted from India? Black pepper. We put it on every table in every restaurant for free now. But it was one of the most valuable substances on earth in 1400s. So he wanted to find a quick and easy route to get the pepper. All right? I mean, if you could put seasoning on your food, you were wealthy. Other than that, you're just eating boiled meat or boiled vegetables. Okay? So, Christopher Columbus can't find anybody in Italy to help, that'll give him the money to go, because he's not a super wealthy dude. Okay? So he goes to the wealthiest empire on earth, Spain, and talks to the king and the queen. Who were the king and queen of Spain in the 1490s? Ferdinand and Isabella. And he's able to convince Ferdinand and Isabella to fund his expedition. And what is his goal again? To find a quicker route to India. At any point, did he tell Ferdinand and Isabella that he's going to prove the earth is round? No. Why? Because this is 1492. Aristotle figured out the earth was round 3,000 years ago. Everybody knows the earth is round, except for morons today. If you're one of those people, I'm sorry. But not really. The earth is round, folks. Aristotle figured it out a long time ago. And if Christopher Columbus would have said that to Ferdinand and Isabella, they would have picked up a globe and threw it at his head. Because they knew the earth was round too. That is a myth, okay? It's just simply a myth. Told by an American author in the 1800s in one of his books to sell books. And people believed it. Okay, anyway. So his goal is to find a quick, easy route to India by sailing west. Thus, he doesn't have to go around Africa. Thus, you don't have to go on the very dangerous road through the deserts. So, and he's not wrong. He just misjudges the size of the earth. You know, the earth is a lot bigger than he thought it was. So he thought the earth was roughly about 1/3 the size it actually is. You know, he didn't take into account the Pacific Ocean and North and South America. Well, how could he? He didn't know it was there. So when they set sail, and 6 weeks later they arrive at land, and he says, "Here we are. We've arrived, and look at those people. Indians. Why did he call them Indians? Because he thought he was in India. Are they Indians? No, they're not. They're Native Americans. They are not from India. People from India are Indians. These people are Native Americans. It's a misnomer. He messed up. However, his mistake is one of the most successful failures in all of history. Okay? So, when he arrives, he mistakes these people as Indians, it spawned a new system. And that system we refer to as the Columbian Exchange. The Columbian Exchange. Europe, it's like a three-way system here. And it takes a little while to establish, but once it's established, it changes the world forever, even up to this very day. Europe is going to provide the market, meaning they're going to provide the money, the people that are going to buy the stuff. They're going to provide the capital, they're going to provide the technology, the ships, the navigation equipment, the know-how. That's what Europe provides. Africa is going to provide the labor to grow all these exotic things, sugar, tobacco, rice. And the New World is going to provide the raw materials, the soil, the land, the lumber, the gold. That's the New World's role. And all kinds of new ideas and new products begin to exchange hands across the ocean. Things from the New World that are going to Europe, things that Europeans had never seen before. Corn, potatoes, tobacco. Nobody smoked before Christopher Columbus. Just Native Americans. Beans, peppers, pumpkins, squash, tomatoes. All of these things were added to the diets of people in Europe. It made the population healthier. Can you imagine going your whole life and never eating a tater? Me neither. But the old world wasn't the only ones gaining things. The new world was also gaining things that they had never seen before. Things like cows and pigs and horses. I want you to imagine being a person that had never seen a horse before. And the first time you see one, it's some giant hairy white dude wearing a metal suit riding on it. How trippy would that be? I mean, imagine that. Imagine. So, cows, pigs, horses, wheat, sugar, apples, cabbage, citrus fruits, carrots, even Kentucky bluegrass. All of these things were brought from the old world to the new world. What was the most important thing, though, that the Europeans brought with them? Disease. Devastating diseases like smallpox, yellow fever, malaria. Indians, Native Americans, had no immunity to such things. So not only did it kill them very quickly. Especially if you're exposed to all of them at the same time. I mean, can you imagine getting typhoid, smallpox, malaria all at once? You'd have like a fever of 270. An estimated 90% of all pre-Columbus Indians died of disease, meaning they would have survived of natural causes or lived until natural death, but they died of disease. 90%. 90%. You think the coronavirus is bad?
Is it true that, like, Christopher Columbus, like, he made the Native Americans, like, slaves and stuff?
That is a fact. He did. Tortured them. There's an account written of Christopher Columbus going up to a young boy and chopping his arm off to see what he would do. The Spanish and Christopher Columbus himself were not very nice to the natives. Okay, period. They weren't. And that was a theme. Struggle. Remember we talked about struggle? Native Americans definitely struggled. Okay? But at least they got some, some sugar out of it, I guess. Bringing sugar over. So, and that kind of leads me into one of my future points. Is Spain the only nation getting in on this action? No, there's other countries, man, they see Spain bringing back boatloads of gold and things like that. And so other nations like Portugal. Do you guys know where Portugal is? It's on the Iberian Peninsula west of Spain. And they want to get in on some of it too. And so they end up competing with the Spanish over a significant portion of the New World. And they almost come to war over it. And this is like 2 years after Columbus even gets there. They're already about to go to war over land in the New World. And so both of these nations were very, very Catholic. And so they go to a mediator. Who do they go talk to? The Pope. And the Pope says, look, Spain, Portugal, I don't have time for your nonsense. I have to be saving the souls of the world. And so he goes to what he thought was a map that they had drawn. I mean, it wasn't. It was a terrible map. They had no idea how big it was. Closes his eyes and goes like this. Draws a line on it. He says, everything west of this, you get Spain. Everything east of it, you get Portugal. No, don't be fighting. Leave me alone. And that was the Treaty of Tordesillas. An arbitrary line drawn by the Pope. Important? Yeah, what language do they speak in these countries west of that line today? All these countries. Spanish. What language do they speak in this big country right here to the east of that line? Portuguese. That's what they speak in Brazil. 2020. An arbitrary line drawn by a man in 1494 totally affected this region forever. So, there is a lot of information about the atrocities done by the Spanish to the Native Americans. A lot. And I told you the story of Columbus and the little boy's arm. Horrible. There's no excuse for that. It's horrible. Is Earth better off having the Spanish do what they did? Bringing Christopher Columbus. Is Earth and humanity better off doing with the Spanish doing what they did? Who says yes? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Who says no? They're evil. Cutting little boys' arms off? You kidding me? Anybody disagree? Well, that's the argument. That's the debate. Okay? Whether we should we celebrate Christopher Columbus Day? Well, this is the debate. It's called this. What this debate is, it's called the Black Legend. Okay, it's called the Black Legend. This is the notion that the Spanish only brought evil, bad things: murder, disease, slavery, which they did bring those things. But that's the Black Legend is the notion that that's all they brought. Did the Spanish bring anything good?
Yes.
What?
Animals.
Okay. New products. What else?
Technology.
What else? All right. You're right. Let's not forget the Spanish bringing things like systems of law, architecture, language, civilization. Hernan Cortez. You guys remember him? Who did he conquer? The Aztecs. What was the Aztec religion? What's it based on? It is polytheistic. What are a few aspects to that religion, though? Human sacrifice. And then once you sacrifice the humans, what do you do with them? You eat them. Cannibalism. Cortez says that's got to go. What does he replace it with? Christianity. Did the Spanish bring Christianity to people who were practicing human sacrifice? Yes. Could you make the argument that that's better? Yes. I think, the message of Christianity versus let's kill that guy and eat him is probably undisputed. All right? So, the black legend is partially correct, without a doubt. Murder, slavery, torture, disease, all bad things. But systems of government, Christianity, education, technology, those things are good. And like it or not, the world changed forever as a result of the Spanish bringing those things. Okay? Now, it was not just Christopher Columbus that came from Spain. There was a bunch of conquistadors. Conquistadors simply means conqueror. It's a Spanish conqueror. And I got just a few on here. There's Vasco Balboa, who discovered, all these people discovered stuff. Did they really discover? It had been seen by millions of people before. He discovered the Pacific Ocean by crossing the Isthmus of Panama. That's Balboa. Ferdinand Magellan, you ever heard of him? Magellan? Magellan is the first person to circumnavigate the globe. What's that mean? He sailed all the way around the earth. First person to do it. Ponce de Leon, you ever heard of him? Nobody? You ever watched the Pirates of the Caribbean movies? What'd he do? Fountain of Youth. He was looking for the Fountain of Youth. He actually names like Florida. Florida gets its name because he named Florida. Spanish name, Florida. Pizarro. You should remember Pizarro. Think back, 9th grade. He conquers somebody. The Inca. Conquers the Inca. He begins shipping back tons of gold and silver to Spain, causing inflation to go up 500%. That's how much gold and silver he sent back. Coronado. Anybody know Coronado? He tried to look for a city of gold called El Dorado. Unfortunately, he never found a city of gold, but he did find the Pueblo Indians and their cities made of adobe, which was also pretty impressive. By far my favorite conquistador, Hernan Cortez. Cortez conquered the Aztecs at the Aztec city of Tenochtitlan, or Tenochtitlan. Cortez, when he arrives, I want you to imagine you're an Aztec person. You see these big, white, hairy dudes riding on horses, getting off of a vessel across the ocean, the size of which you had never seen before. Biggest boat you'd ever seen is a canoe. And they're getting off there and they're wearing these big metal suits. And they have this symbol on their chest. What's the symbol? They're Catholic. What's the symbol?
Star David.
Not Jewish. The cross. Symbol of Jesus. Okay? Well, you're Aztec. And you see these people riding these loud, large, weird-looking animals, and you have these shiny sticks that can cut trees down in one swipe, and you have these other sticks that make loud booms, and people fall over dead, and they're not even close to them. When after you hear the boom, guns. They had guns. What do you think about these people? Yeah. In addition, the Aztecs also had their own religion, in which one of their gods' name was Quetzalcoatl. And the symbol of Quetzalcoatl is a sapling with an arrow shot through it. What does that look remarkably similar to? What might you think? Who might you think these people are? Yeah, you might think that they are Quetzalcoatl returning. What's up, Coach? 3:30.
If I'm a few minutes late, just hang tight.
Okay, same with me. Same, yeah.
There's a button.
I'll hit that. Yeah, I've never been there.
You're not getting
It's Kanawha Street, isn't it?
there. Okay,
Hey, thank you.
we'll just do 9.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Where was I?
You were talking
Quetzalcoatl. I had to set up my golf game. Sorry. So yeah, Cortez. He takes advantage of this because the Aztecs do think that he's like a god, one of their gods returning. And so, what do you think the Aztecs did? And the Aztec king, his name was Montezuma. What do you think they did?
whatever he said.
What can we do for you? What can we do? And Cortez is like, jackpot. So he goes up to a room and he goes over to the wall. He goes like this. He draws a line all the way around the wall. He says, fill this room up with gold right here. And guess what they do? They fill that room up with gold. So right there. And so then he leaves with all the gold. And then he gets back to Spain. He's like, y'all, you ain't going to believe these morons. They give me anything I want. I didn't even have to kill anybody. And so he goes back with like a bunch more ships. And he goes to Montezuma. He goes up to say, Montezuma, do it again. Montezuma's like, I don't know. I thought you were supposed to do the godly stuff. He's like, nah, just bring me the gold. And Montezuma pretty quickly figures out he's not a god. And so Montezuma gets the warriors and drives him out. And so Cortez returns to Spain. But the next time he returns with 600 men. 600. And this time he's not drawing lines on the wall. This time he's bringing guns, he's bringing his swords, and they're just killing people. Okay, they conquer the Aztecs. So, Cortez conquers the Aztecs with 600 people, and basically all because he wants their gold. Eventually, a lot of Spanish people move into that area of Mexico and intermarry with the Aztec people and breed them out, creating a new race of people. What is it called when a Spanish person intermarries or intermingles with a native person or an Aztec person? It's called a mestizo. And then what you get is someone who looks Mexican. That is what they are. They're part European and part Native American. Mestizo.